best client is who buys the home is someone that is downsizing, that they don't need a mortgage anymore.
Yes.
Second, the deposit has to be larger. So you know, because if they put a larger deposit, let's say usually it's 5%, you know, for good faith. But all the time I advise clients, if we have a 10% or 15% of the market of the selling price, then it's much better for us, because that shows the buyer has money first, and you know, has a good faith, and he had potential to buy that property. Third, the closing to be faster, so the very as closer as possible, because you know, if let's say even if it's 50 or 30,000 difference in price, but the closing is 3 months later, in those 3 months that you know, the property could go down more than 50 or 100,000, and then even if they have, let's say, 30,000 more, and the property went down 100,000 more, because they know they lose 70, they back out of the deal. But let's say for listing agent now, because of the market is the way it is, they have to be sure when they accept an offer. All the time I told my clients, I said, you know what, I will do my due diligence for you than before. So when we have an offer, let's say on the table, you know, I will ask the buyer agent, I said, please let us know a little bit about your client. So I want them to understand, you know, who we're dealing with. So for example, if they are first-time buyers, and the house, you know, they have a certain amount of money, let's say 5% or 10% down payment, because they're first-time buyers, okay? We have to be sure that, you know, like that the buyer has the extra, let's say 100,000, just in case the appraisal is not coming for the value that we sold it. So I think the first-time buyers, or you know, they are most you know, vulnerable to this process, because you know, maybe they don't have 20%.
Yes, 20%
and then
it's a lot,
so
20%.
and then they have to put the difference. You know, all the time when let's say I have a listing, and you know, we have a multi-property situation, and you know, we have to decide which buyer, you know, we want to take. All the time I advise my clients, it's better to take guys that they are downsizing, so basically they sold their home higher, like say they have a much valuable home, let's say 4 million, they want to buy 1 million, so they have money. So it's much because they don't need a mortgage anymore, so it doesn't matter the appraisal.
They're more flexible,
because basically it's no appraisal.
Yes.
When they don't need the mortgage, they pay cash, there is no appraisal. So these are the ideal buyers, they pay in cash, they don't need the mortgage. So all the time, you know, I do my due diligence and I explain my client, I say, even this guy, let's say he spent 10,000 more than the second guy, but first guy with 10,000 more, it's a first-time buyer, he has just 10%. So you have to be sure, because the closing is 3 months from now, probably the market is going down again, and the mortgage rates are up again. So you have to be prepared, because maybe that buyer has good faith, but he cannot close. So you have to be very professional.
Kind of profile of the ideal buyer.
You know, so this is it's very interesting, because it never happened before.
Yeah, this is what I told you. I admire, because you adapt so quickly. Oh my goodness.
You have to choose.
This is so new, so new. It's my very first time I'm hearing about the appraisal, everything.
It's so dangerous.
And everything can change like in days, not even weeks. So you have to. So you're preparing yourself. You're preparing the situation. So you have A, B, C, D, whatever situation, and you're always have like you prepare, but for different situations. You are not unprepared. You don't want to be unprepared. So
I was a chess player when I was a kid. So I was for 8 years the champion of my city. Was about 70,000 you know, citizens. There was people that live in that city in Transylvania, Romania. So you know, I had that, you know, thinking like a chess player. So you have to think, you know, each step, you know, and then to move the piece.
Absolutely, you don't want to wait until
so there. So now, and also I advise clients, let's say if they have the same, let's say the same type of client. Let's say you know, they were downsizing, and then one of them wants a closing in one month, and one of them in 3 months. And I said to my clients, it's better to go in 1 month, because maybe even they have cash, but the value is much lower, maybe they don't want to pursue that deal. And then they can go out easily, knowing that probably, you know, it takes years to go in court and stuff like that. So I said, better for you that, so the best client is who buys the home is someone that is downsizing, that they don't need a mortgage anymore.
Yes.
Second, the deposit has to be larger. So you know, because if they put a larger deposit, let's say usually it's 5%, you know, for good faith. But all the time I advise clients, if we have a 10% or 15% of the market of the selling price, then it's much better for us, because that shows the buyer has money first, and you know, has a good faith, and he had potential to buy that property. Third, the closing to be faster, so the very as closer as possible, because you know, if let's say even if it's 50 or 30,000 difference in price, but the closing is 3 months later, in those 3 months that you know, the property could go down more than 50 or 100,000, and then even if they have, let's say, 30,000 more, and the property went down 100,000 more, because they know they lose 70, they back out of the deal.
Yeah.
So
it's too close.
It's too close.
So it's too close, and they don't want to take any chances.
So if I advise my clients when they sell a property, is to sell to a guy, as I said, they don't need a mortgage. Second, much higher deposit at 5%. Third, much quick the closing, as much as close the closing as possible. The shorter period waiting for the closing. So you know, some tips.
Yeah. Again, I mean, we don't want to scare anybody.
Yes.
And they can connect with you. You can tell them everything. They have questions. You can explain them 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Right? You're pretty like patient. Because people are not necessarily. I mean, even for me, it was a little bit difficult to understand that it's new. Everything is so new.
Exactly.
And if you don't know this business, you probably need a little bit more time processing. And on top, if you have like good friends, family members giving you advices, it's so hard.
It's so hard. Yeah.
You'll be like.
And if I can mention something like something else, so I was speaking about the listing side. What I'm doing if I'm, let's say, in the buyer side, which I'm more like 30% of, you know, the cases in 1 year. So I have 30% buyer, 70% listings. But let's say if I'm working on the buyer side, then you have to be sure they're pre-approved 100%. Second, you have to be in touch with the mortgage broker to be sure that they can keep the, you know, they can block the rate for at least 60 days. Usually 60 days for the bank, you know, to be approved for a certain amount, to be sure that that amount is not jump in 1 month from now. So then you can protect somehow your clients. Okay, so that one is very important. So to have a good relationship, connection, let's say, to know what's going on. And then let's say if you are involved in a multiple situation, which is very rare right now, but let's say it happens, you have to be sure to have to explain your client. I said, Mr. Client, Mr. Buyer, if let's say you have just 10%, okay, this is the maximum you can put a down payment. Be sure that, you know, be sure that, let's say, in case the appraisal comes 100,000 higher, then you have that 100,000 extra. So you have to explain them very properly, because if not, and then you buy the house and somehow the deal doesn't close and you didn't put a conditional offer, then you are in a hot seat, because the buyer can say, you know what, you didn't do your job for me. You pushed me to, you know, to buy a firm deal, and now I'm 100,000 short. So the only way to, you know, like and then the deal didn't close, and then there are legal implications, and the agent can probably be punished under the, you know, certain regulations, and we don't want you know, recall rules, stuff like that. So you have to be very careful, you know, in the buyer side. It's a huge on both sides. Both sides. Yeah, it's not just a transaction. Yeah, it's more than a transaction. It comes with so much responsibility, like. So now it's much more than ever to have a mortgage close for 5 days. For example, just the last offer that I did on a cottage far away from Toronto, but very beautiful cottage, 140 acres with their own lake and stuff like that. So the offer was 1,070,000, like okay, a good price. And then the appraisal came 700,000, 705. Oh wow! So imagine 365,000 less than the purchasing price, which is crazy. So that client has to put that client, let's say, had to put at least 20% of 705. You know how much the bank is giving them the mortgage, so which is probably about 150, 160, plus $365,000, the difference in price for 705, the appraisal value, and the sold price value. So basically it's 365 plus another 165, probably about 520,000, like a down payment. And that buyer was expecting just to put maybe about 200,000. So if they don't have 540 or 520, the deal cannot be closed. And not just because of that buyer, because that buyer was asking for 2 appraisals. We had 1 appraisal last week. We did yesterday another one.
So you can ask for another appraisal.
Yes.
So it's allowed.
You can ask you can contest the first appraisal.
Okay.
But it's up to the bank. So let's say just in this case. So the first one was 705. Let's say the second appraisal came to 800.
Okay.
Or 850. I'll just give you an example. Now the bank can choose 3 options. 1, to go with the 705 appraisal. Even the second appraisal came higher.
Oh, so they can choose.
Yeah. Second, they can go with a higher appraisal, which is very unusual because they want the bank wants to protect themselves.
Of course,
and they want the lower appraisal they can get. So basically, let's say they accept 800,000. Let's say the second appraisal came to 800,000. Okay. Then can go to with 800,000. And some of the cases, and mostly, they can go with the average. So the first one was 7, the second one was 8, the average is 750.
Okay.
So basically, they have 3 choices, the bank, but it's up to the bank.
Oh wow!
You know, so how many? Because it's just about what's going on, what happened in my career. So that one, they don't explain. Don't know real. It's very, in theory, nobody can talk about that.
Oh wow!
But if you have a real, real-time problem, real, events that is happening in your career, then
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is the difference between experience and theory.
What you learn,
it's a big difference.
Probably what you learn in school, oh my God, it's probably just a fraction.
A fraction. To have an idea.
It's just getting you start, right?
Yes.
That's pretty much, but it's the experience.
It's experience. It's mostly experience.
Oh my God, so much information. It's amazing. Thanks so much, Marius.
You're welcome.
I was expecting, but not so much, to be honest. It's crazy.
Thank you so much
I always encourage you, just connect to Marius, have questions, and just don't assume. And I know people want to help, and I can see that we are human, and especially like different communities, they talk to each other, they encourage. Oh, this was my experience. You should expect the same. No, it's not. Like a different situation, different people, different. You can't say they are alike. They are not alike.
There are so many ways to do it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
So just have a conversation with you and have questions and be prepared for an open mind, and have same question 2 times. It's still fine, right? Because you will explain, because it's so much information. But you should go to the source. Go to the source, not I know people want to help, but they're not helping you actually this time.
Oh yeah. And another one too. Another thing that is very important for the people, they want to buy cottages, so far away, north or east, doesn't matter, but far away from the city, which was this case. Is I learned that not so many banks they want to give mortgages for far away, for secondary homes or for vacation homes. Because especially the B lenders that they're very useful in the city. When let's say if you go to a bigger bank, like Scotia, TD, Royal Bank, or Bank of Montreal, the big banks, let's say they don't want to approve you, okay, then you can go to a B lender. They have a little bit higher rates, but at least they help you to get that house. But in this case, like if you want to buy far away. I try for this client, and all the B lenders, they say no, we're not.
Oh, wow.
We don't want to borrow for somewhere very far away, just in case, far away. Sorry, just in case something happened. They're afraid that there are not so many clients for those far away properties. They prefer just to work in the city. So if you go far away, then you have to have a very good credit score for sure, a very good income. So from individual perspective, you have to be an A client, because otherwise no bank will give you the mortgage, and it's much more dangerous. So when you buy a cottage, think twice.
Okay, this is a great
this
topic.
This is maybe next the next
topic. We can
next,
dissect, and I think people will be
time.
interested because it's different from because we have this subject. But again,
next time, I promise you, we'll go deeper.
Just dissect and see, and hopefully we can get some questions from our audience, because actually this is what we want. We want to answer the questions to people who are actually watching the materials.
Exactly.
So, Marius, thank you so much.
You're
Again,
welcome.
Amazing. Always impressed about your knowledge and your experience and what you're doing, and how much time you spend not only helping people but improving yourself, like a self-development. You're learning all the time, and it's admirable. Like, I really admire
thank you so much. It's just passion, learning, and love for this business, and that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much,
we'll
Felicia.
see you again.
Okay, take care.